This story will keep you on the edge of your seat as we uncover how a small mistake turns someone's life upside down. Face screaming in fear, full of twists, surprises, and lessons. This thrilling continuation of our journey will leave you amazed. Glowing Star, and if you haven't watched part 1 yet, make sure to check it out first for the complete experience. Clapperboard Sparkle. When the goats were between me and my dog, I quickly hid behind a tree. I whispered to my dog, "Come here," and then shouted loudly to get his attention. My dog bolted toward me, and so did the goats. I stayed hidden, holding my breath. When one goat came close, I jumped out and grabbed its leg. Gotcha, I thought. But before I could celebrate, the goat kicked me hard on the nose with her other leg. Ouch! I cried, letting go. The goat ran away faster than I could blink. We failed. I looked at my dog and sighed. This isn't working. We need a better plan. Defeated, we walked home. I just wanted to sit and relax. In January, I began working on a new fence. I wanted it to be strong, so it took me 3 long months. While building it, I made an exciting discovery: big birds on the island. They didn't live in trees, but in little holes between the rocks. Catching them was surprisingly easy, and their meat was delicious. Even better, they had eggs, and I could cook and eat them too. One day, while cleaning, I found an old bag that once had corn inside. Now, it only had a few leaves in it. I tossed the contents outside my camp, needing the bag for storing gunpowder. Weeks later, something magical happened. I saw green leaves growing where I had thrown the corn. It was young corn sprouting. I was overjoyed. This meant one thing: bread in the future. But my happiness didn't last long. In March, while I was inside my cave, the ground began to shake. Pieces of earth fell from the cave's roof. Panicked, I ran outside just as an earthquake struck. Big stones rolled down the hill, but thankfully, they missed my tent. I sat on the ground, too shaken to go back inside. What if another earthquake comes? I thought. I couldn't risk sleeping in the cave anymore. So, I decided to build a house. In April, I started working on it. It took me 3 months, but when it was finished, I felt safe and proud. In July, I fell terribly ill. I couldn't get out of bed for days. My body felt weak, and my dreams became wild and strange. In one dream, I was in a pub on the island, arguing with strangers and running from danger. When I finally recovered in August, I still felt weak. I spent 10 days walking around the island to regain my strength. On one of these walks, I stumbled upon something incredible: a hidden valley. The valley was full of treasures: melons, apples, oranges, and lemons. It was like finding paradise. I picked some fruit and decided to build a small house there. I imagined it as my escape, surrounded by beauty and nature. The valley gave me so much energy. I worked hard, building a sturdy little house with a double fence to protect it like a castle. At night, I sat outside, watching the stars. I thought about my family in England, knowing they could see the same moon. Sometimes, I felt deeply connected to the world and the universe. I had questions for God. Why am I still alive? Why am I here on this lonely island? Though I had no answers, I trusted that God had a plan for me. When the rainy season ended, my new house was covered in green leaves, making it look like part of the jungle. It was beautiful, and the shade it provided was perfect. As time passed, I learned to grow corn and plan my farming around the seasons. Life on the island wasn't easy, but it taught me to adapt, stay strong, and keep hope alive. I started taking longer trips around the island. I realized I needed a basket for these adventures. With a basket, I could carry more food and gather plenty of fruit from the fruit valley. To make the basket, I gathered branches from the trees I used for my fences. Carefully, I wove the branches together until the basket was complete. Excited with my new basket, I set out on a long journey around the island. I passed through the beautiful fruit valley, filled with sweet, ripe melons and colorful fruits. After the valley, I came across vast fields covered in tall, green grass. The fields were flat and stretched out as far as I could see. The fields were bursting with vibrant flowers that smelled amazing. Bees and butterflies fluttered around, buzzing happily from one bloom to another. The sight and scents made my trip even more enjoyable. With my basket full of food and fruit, I felt ready for any adventure the island had to offer. Each trip brought new sights and wonderful smells, making my life here even more special. I see some large butterflies with wings about 10 centimeters wide. Around the fields, I notice small trees. These trees have nuts, but they are different from the nuts in England. Their shape is unusual, and they taste sweeter. On this side of the island, I find new animals. There are wildcats here. I also see many parrots and other unique birds. I catch one parrot and take it with me. The parrot has colorful feathers: red, green, orange, blue, pink, and yellow. This part of the island is beautiful and has more food, but I don't want to live here. While heading back, my dog catches a young goat. I save the goat and take it with me because I want to raise goats. This gives me another chance to start. I leave the goat in my valley house for now. Later, I plan to prepare a proper place for it at my main home. The journey makes me very tired. I rest all day. During my rest, I make a cage for the parrot. Later, I bring the goat to my home, where it starts to calm down. I draw a map of the island and add these new places to it. Time moves quickly, and soon it's September again. This marks my second year on the island. I don't feel as sad anymore. I've accepted my life here and found many good things to enjoy. My days are quite routine. In the morning, I go hunting. At noon, I cook. In the afternoon, when the sun is too strong, I relax. In the evening, I work. This is my daily schedule. I also start teaching my parrot to say its name, Pole. In November and December, I face a problem. Wild goats try to eat my corn plants. To protect my corn, I quickly build a fence around the field. I add a gate to the fence and let my dog stay inside at night to guard the plants. Soon, the corn plants grow tall, but another problem arises. Birds begin eating the seeds. I scare the birds by shooting at them. They fly away, but I have to watch over my field every day to keep it safe. At the end of December, I harvest my first corn. It isn't much, so I decide not to eat it. Instead, I keep all the seeds. My plan is to plant them later and grow more corn. I realize I need pots to store the seeds. I search the island for clay and finally find some. I try making pots, but I fail at first. I keep trying, and after 2 months of hard work, I successfully make 2 pots. I place the pots in baskets and use dry grass to protect them. The grass and baskets keep the pots safe. Over time, I continue making pots, and their quality improves. I also create long, shallow pots to hold seawater. When the water evaporates, I collect salt. One day, I notice a broken piece of a pot in the fire. The fire makes the piece very hard and red like a stone. This gives me an idea. I build a fire around one of my pots. After 2 hours, the pot becomes very hard. I am thrilled with the result. Next, I need a tool to grind seeds into flour. I use a big piece of hardwood and carve a hole in it. I place the seeds in the hole and use another piece of wood to crush them. The flour collects at the bottom of the hole. I decide to bake bread. I mix the flour with water and heat 2 stones near the fire. When the stones are hot, I put the dough between them. This is how I make my first bread on the island. It's not perfect, but I'm happy to eat bread again after such a long time. This happens during my 3rd year on the island. I start thinking about exploring the island by sea. I decide to make a canoe from a large tree. I find a suitable tree, cut it down, and begin hollowing it out. But after a few days, I realize a problem. The forest is far from the beach, and there's a small hill in between. The canoe is too heavy to move over the hill. I am frustrated and angry because I can't take the canoe to the beach. I have to leave it in the forest, wasting many days of hard work. I feel disappointed in myself for making such a mistake. I decide that next time, I must plan my work better. After living on the island for 3 years, my clothes became very old and worn out. So, I started using animal skins to make new ones. I even made a cap and other clothes from the skins. I also needed an umbrella, so I tried making one with animal skins. It was tricky at first and took some time, but eventually I made a good one. By now, I felt quite happy. I had everything I needed to live a decent life. For the next 5 years, life continued peacefully. During this time, I decided to make another canoe. This one was smaller and easier to move to the beach. By June, the canoe was ready. I wanted to explore the island by sea, so I packed food, water, and my guns, preparing for the adventure. The trip started with a challenge. The sea near the island had dangerous rocks, making it hard to navigate. Then, as I tried to return to land, a strong current pulled my canoe away from the island. I panicked. The open sea was terrifying, and I didn't have enough food or water for a long trip. I fought the current with all my strength for 2 hours. Finally, I managed to get back near the island. This gave me confidence. I felt stronger and ready to continue my journey. While exploring, I found a small river and decided to follow it. But the river became too narrow, and big stones blocked my way. I had to leave the canoe there and explore the area on foot. Surprisingly, I discovered that I wasn't far from my valley home. Tired from the trip, I returned to my house and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up to a voice calling, "Robinson, where are you? Robinson, where are you?" At first, I was scared, but then I saw my parrot, Pole, sitting on top of the fence. He was saying the words exactly as I had taught him, in my voice and tone. I was shocked to see him there. Why isn't he at home? I thought, but seeing Pole made me happy. I decided not to return to the canoe and went home with Pole instead. After this adventure, I didn't take any big trips for a whole year. I stayed at home, making tools, pots, and even beautiful baskets. Life became calm again. It's been 11 years since my first day on the island. One day, I notice my gunpowder is running low, and it worries me. I need gunpowder to hunt animals for food. My first goat has grown very old. I want meat, but I can't bring myself to kill her. One day, she dies naturally. With less gunpowder, I realize I need another way to get meat. I decide to make a trap. At first, I fail, but then I manage to catch 3 young goats, one male and 2 females. I bring them home. I build a small fenced area for the goats, but it's too small for all 3. So, I build a larger fence. It takes me 3 months, but the new area is big and full of grass and water. Over time, the goats become calm. Soon, they eat from my hand. In 2 years, I have 12 goats, and in 3 years, more than 20. Thanks to the goats, I now have plenty of milk and meat. I experiment and learn how to make cheese and butter. My table is full, and my home is alive with animals, my dog, goats, and my parrot. But I still miss having someone to talk to. One day, I go near the sea, where the current is strong. On the way, I think about how strange I look now. I wear a big hat, a short jacket, and trousers made of animal skin. My feet are wrapped in goat skin, and I carry 2 belts, one for my gun and knife, the other for gunpowder. My beard is long, and I have an umbrella over my head. I look nothing like the man I was 11 years ago. While walking on the beach to check my canoe, I see something shocking, a human footprint in the sand. I freeze and look around but see no one. Terrified, I run back to my house. I can't sleep that night, thinking it might be my imagination or even my own footprint. The next day, I go back to the footprint. It's much bigger than my foot. Now, I'm sure it's not mine. Panic sets in. I even think of destroying my fields and hiding all signs of my presence on the island. But after calming down, I realize the footprint might belong to people from nearby islands. Maybe they visited once and won't return. Still, I prepare for my safety. I build another fence around my house with small holes for shooting if attacked. I also create a second shelter for some of my goats in another part of the island. Years pass and my dog dies. It's the saddest day of my life. I cry for 3 days. My goats comfort me in their own way. They seem to feel my pain. 2 years after seeing the footprint, I discover something horrifying on the beach. Human remains and signs of a fire. The sight fills me with anger and fear. I decide not to fight these people unless they attack me. I stay hidden, keep quiet, and make small fires to avoid smoke. One day, I find a cave near the beach. Inside, I see an old goat dying. After the goat dies, I realize the cave is a perfect hiding spot. I store weapons and gunpowder there. By now, 23 years have passed. I live comfortably with over 30 goats and 3 parrots. One day, I see a fire on the beach. I prepare my weapons and hide, watching 9 people leave in canoes. After they leave, I find blood and bones on the beach again. I decide I will kill them if they return. One evening, after a storm, I hear a gunshot from the sea. I see a light from a ship in trouble. I light a big fire on the beach, hoping they see it. I keep the fire burning until midnight, but no one comes. I wonder, where are the men from the ship? The next morning and the mysterious ship. The next morning, I spot a ship in the distance. It's anchored far from the beach, appearing eerily abandoned. I cannot understand why. I anticipate seeing people from the ship and yearn to converse with someone after so long. The isolation weighs heavily on me. Determined, I paddle my canoe towards the vessel. As I approach, I see the ship is Spanish and utterly wrecked. To my surprise, a lone dog greets me, wagging its tail excitedly. I offer it bread and water, realizing it must be starving. Despite searching the ship thoroughly, I find no signs of human life. Questions flood my mind. Where are the sailors? What happened here? It remains a mystery. The ship holds many boxes, both large and small, filled with various goods. Some contain alcohol, but they are too heavy for my canoe. I gather items I can carry, including guns, gunpowder, shirts, and precious metals. The gunpowder, vital for survival, is far more valuable than gold or silver on this deserted island. After several trips to the ship, I return with a treasure trove of supplies, including much-needed shoes. I stash everything in my cave, ensuring it's safe. Life gradually returns to its usual rhythm, though I can't stop thinking about the ship's crew and the threat of cannibals on the beach. An unusual dream. One night in March, I dream of two canoes landing on the beach. Their prisoners attempt to escape, and one seeks refuge in my house. I save him, and he becomes my companion, helping me navigate the dangerous waters surrounding the island. The dream lingers in my mind, filling me with hope. Perhaps I can save a prisoner from the cannibals and gain a companion. For the next 2 years, I diligently patrol the beach, watching for signs of activity. A new arrival. One fateful afternoon, I spot 5 canoes carrying over 30 men. Watching through my telescope, I see they have 2 prisoners. The cannibals begin their gruesome rituals, killing one of the prisoners. It's horrifying, but I am powerless against such numbers. The second prisoner seizes an opportunity to flee, running towards me. Only 2 cannibals chase him. I grab my guns and hide behind a tree, ready to act. When the prisoner approaches, I shoot the first cannibal, then the second. The prisoner, initially terrified, eventually understands I mean no harm. He kneels before me in gratitude, displaying respect in a way unfamiliar to me. I take him to my cave, feed him, and let him rest. Observing him, I note his youth, strength, and pleasant demeanor. A bond forms. The man, whom I name Friday, quickly becomes an essential part of my life. I teach him simple English words like yes, no, and hello. In turn, he teaches me about his people and their ways. Despite his cannibalistic background, Friday is eager to learn and adapt. Friday proves resourceful and intelligent. Together, we expand my cornfield, bake bread, and prepare meals. He brings herbs from the forest, enhancing the flavor of our dishes. Slowly, Friday learns to use tools and weapons. His quick progress fills me with pride. A plan to escape. As our bond deepens, Friday reveals that Europeans live on a nearby island. Hope ignites within me. With Friday's help, I construct a larger canoe, planning to meet these Europeans and potentially escape. One day, Friday spots 3 canoes on the beach. Fear grips him, but I reassure him. We arm ourselves and climb a hill to observe. I see 14 cannibals and 2 prisoners. A part of me hesitates to act. Do I have the right to kill them when they pose no direct threat? I decide to wait, prepared to intervene if necessary. When we get close to the beach, we see the cannibals gathered around a fire, eating one of the prisoners. The second prisoner, a European man, is still alive but is also about to be killed. I decide to save him if I can. We move closer, hiding behind the trees. 12 cannibals are near the fire, and 2 approach the European. I ready my guns and ask Friday to do the same. We fire 6 times, killing 3 cannibals and injuring 2. The rest panic, unsure where the attack is coming from. Some flee to their canoes, while others remain frozen on the beach. We keep shooting, killing 3 more. Then, shouting loudly, we rush to the beach. I free the European while Friday kills another cannibal. The European, though weak, speaks to me in Spanish, and I give him a gun. The cannibals are terrified by our attack and unusual weapons. Only 2 attempt to fight back, but we quickly shoot them. Friday kills 1 injured cannibal with his knife, while the other tries to escape into the forest. Friday chases him and kills him too. 3 cannibals manage to flee in a canoe, but before we can follow them, we discover another man tied up in one of their canoes. His neck is bound, and he can barely breathe. I cut the ropes, and Friday recognizes him as his father. Overwhelmed, Friday cries, laughs, and hugs his father. This emotional moment delays us, allowing the fleeing cannibals to escape. Friday massages his father's hands and feet, bringing him relief, and fetches water to quench his thirst. He also gives water to the European, who is extremely weak. To help the European move, Friday carries him on his back to our canoe and then pushes it to our house. Since our guests are too weak to climb over the fence, we set up a tent outside with soft beds. After preparing dinner, Friday brings back all the weapons, and the next day, we bury the cannibals. The following morning, I talk with Friday's father about the possibility of a cannibal attack. He reassures me that they fear our guns, believing us to be spirits sent from heaven. With our guests recovering, I discuss plans for a sea journey with the European. He explains that 16 Europeans are stranded on Friday's island without tools to build a ship. With my tools, he says it's possible to construct one, but we need more food for the journey. Together, we expand our fields, gather fruit, and catch more goats, eventually storing enough supplies for the trip. When the Spanish man and Friday's father are ready, they take a canoe to their island to gather the other Europeans. 2 days later, Friday wakes me early, saying a new boat has arrived. From the hill, I see it belongs to an English ship. Though happy to see my countrymen, I'm cautious. The ship doesn't seem to have arrived by accident. 11 men come ashore, 3 of whom are prisoners with tied hands. After observing for some time, I speak to the prisoners in English from the forest. They are shocked but reveal that the leader of the group is the ship's captain, who has been overthrown in a mutiny. Most of the sailors are still loyal to him, and if the 2 rebel leaders are subdued, the others can return to his command. I offer to help the captain, but under one condition. I must have full authority over the ship if we successfully reclaim it. The captain and his companions agree, entrusting me with control over their ship and their lives. We release the imprisoned sailors and head back to the forest, armed with a strategic plan. Along the way, we prepare for what lies ahead. During our discussion, the guards stationed at the ship's perimeter awaken. They alert nearby allies, but we act swiftly, neutralizing the guards. The captain, aiming to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, persuades 3 men to join our cause. Once they agree, we secure them temporarily on the beach. Other sailors, drawn by the commotion, return to investigate. Witnessing our superior numbers and firepower, they too pledge loyalty to the captain, and we take necessary precautions to ensure their cooperation. After securing the situation, we hide the prisoners and regroup. I share my experiences on the island with the captain, who is both shocked and grateful. We retreat to my shelter to replenish our energy and prepare for the next steps. Our challenge is formidable, reclaiming the ship with just 5 of us against 16 aboard. We devise a tactical approach, starting with removing supplies from the enemy's boat to limit their mobility. The next morning, the ship sends signals, followed by another boat approaching the shore. 8 armed men disembark, including the rebellion leader. The captain identifies 6 loyal men among them, but the odds remain steep. We cautiously lure the sailors away from their boat, creating an opportunity to capture the remaining crew. Utilizing distraction tactics, we isolate and subdue them without resistance. With 7 of us now armed and prepared, we move closer to our goal. As the captain and his trusted allies infiltrate the ship, disguised as crew members, the decisive moment arrives. The captain reveals himself, and a brief but intense conflict ensues. Injuries occur, but the rebellion leader is neutralized, and the captain regains control of the ship. A signal of victory, a series of gunshots, echoes to us on shore. The captain returns with good news, ensuring my long-awaited departure from the island. We celebrate this milestone with a grand feast aboard the ship. The captain, grateful for my assistance, provides me with fresh clothes and ensures all loose ends are tied before setting sail. Our journey across the ocean is marked by reunions, revelations, and emotional moments as I reconnect with loved ones and rediscover the world that has changed so much during my absence. While in Brazil, I reflect on my past and plan for the future, balancing my ties to the island and my renewed family connections. The journey ultimately becomes a testament to resilience, hope, and the enduring bonds of friendship and family. Thank you for joining us on this journey of learning and adventure. Remember, English is not just a language. It's a gateway to endless opportunities. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and never stop exploring new stories and ideas. If you found this story helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more engaging stories and lessons designed just for you. Let's grow and learn together. Glowing Star.